Hey everybody, Guy here from a Chit Chat podcast. Thanks for listening. I'm so thankful that you're here. Just got done recording the podcast with Bernie Perryman, House Representative from seat 14A. It was a great conversation. We talked about civic responsibility and civic duty and how it's good to vote. It's good to be involved in all of the things that make our community special and making your voice heard. So I don't really care who you vote for, but it's a fun conversation with one of our civic leaders in town. And I'm really, really excited for you to listen to it now. Bernie, thank you so much for joining us on the Chit Chat podcast. We really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you. I'm pretty excited and just inquisitive how this will go, but
Good.
Very excited. I really appreciated when you called and asked if I would be interested, and you notice I just said yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's right.
We're jumping in right into it.
I think, politicians aren't known for being, real shy or, unwilling to chat. So I had high confidence that you would maybe be, a good guest.
I am open to speaking and just having great conversations with anyone.
Yeah.
But I do have in my head, my grandmother always said, do not miss a good opportunity to shut up. So I do have those times as well.
I like that. What was your grandma's name?
Her first name was Serene,
Hi, Serene.
Serene. Her last name was Brenner.
All right.
She raised me
All
in
right.
St. Louis, Missouri. My mother had to go to work to raise us, and
Yep.
my grandmother came and lived with us, and she raised me and lived with us, and it was wonderful to be taught by a very proper older woman, German,
Yeah.
and she's taught me where the forks go on the table, napkins, so I was raised the Southern Belle.
All right. Good. All right. So Bernie, usually we have a coffee or a tea, but you're kind of a water person. And so we got some San Pellegrino. How does that sound?
That's first class.
All right.
That is first class. That is much better than the fountains in St. Paul.
That's right. It's true.
So, and I do like coffee. It's just after a certain time,
I get it.
I need to stick to less caffeine.
I get it. And I've recently kicked caffeine altogether. So I
How'd
totally
that
get
go
it.
for you?
The first week was miserable, and now it would be hard to go backwards.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't really imagine
A
going back to it.
coffee shop owner giving up caffeine.
There's still lots of other. Even there's good decafs. There are
Oh, that's true.
there are
too.
good options.
That is very true. Well, I know a lot about your store because I do come in and get coffees, and people and I'm not just making this up because we're talking right now. I know you from Chamber. I know many Chamber members that rave about coming here and that
sweet.
they love your coffee.
Sweet. Okay, Bernie, would you maybe just tell us a little bit about you? So there's kind of these at least two big facets of you and your story. I'd love Batteries Plus. You are a business owner in town, an entrepreneur. You have a number of many employees, multiple locations. Like you're doing it. You are here in our community, helping grow the business community here, and you are a state rep, 14A. And so I'd love to maybe just talk a little bit about that and hear. Would you maybe just tell us a little bit about Batteries Plus, how long you've been doing it, and then I'd love to ask you a little bit about being a state rep and what that's like.
Okay, great. No, and they kind of have a 1-2 punch,
Okay,
business going
yeah.
to legislature. But as far as business, I moved to St. Cloud in 1999, and I moved here to buy into the C&L Distributing, the Budweiser distributor. So that was my first ownership as a small business owner. We had 120 employees and great revenue, but I sold to the family because I came in as not a family member. But when the family wanted to buy me out, I sold my share in 2012.
Okay.
And then from 2012, I did more beer up in Brainerd as a Budweiser distributor, and then came back here and did the small business with Viking Coca-Cola, with Coors and Coca-Cola. And then 2016 bought me into batteries. So beer to batteries in 2016. So about 8 years, going on 9 years, owning the 2 stores here in town.
And did you buy when you bought in? Did you buy both stores at one time, or was it at separate times that you bought each store?
I bought both stores
Both,
at
okay.
one time.
Sweet. And because it's retail, right? There's elements of it that's just the same as any other kind of retail. But were there things that you kind of was there onboarding that you needed to actually understand battery sales and kind of that world, or was it a pretty kind of smooth, seamless transition into the world of batteries?
It was more the technical of the product.
okay.
So the product just blew me away because there's not just that 9 volts or the simple car battery. There's titles and ingredients in every battery. And then you add bulbs, and we have all
Yeah.
different kinds of bulbs. And then we also fix device repairs.
Yeah.
So we fix cell phones, and we have a contract with the school system for fixing their laptops. So the product was the challenge to me because I am not, you can ask my husband, I am terrible at just even swinging a hammer. So the product was the most difficult for me, but the most easiest thing that I loved going into buying a smaller company, 22 employees, was the people,
Yeah.
the culture there. The people I purchased the stores from, they were called, their names were the Musages. They were my friends. I watched them grow that company, and it just was special to watch them do that as a husband and wife. And then I was just kind of floundering, not being an owner at Viking Coca-Cola, and we started talking, and I was like, I think this could be for me, and it has been because of the people. The culture they built, it's about the people first, it's
Yeah.
about the customer first, and they care a lot about each other. So I always say there's no man left behind in our stores because if someone's having a difficult time or day, they recognize it and they jump in as a team. And they're just, they are our family. My husband and I call them our family. We don't have children. So they're our family. And then we also have extended family with their families. And we try to do an event every 2 years, or every twice a year, I should say. And we're actually June 30th going on Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah.
We're going to Lake Minnetonka on a boat. And we're going to go to Lord Fletcher's for dinner afterwards and have a bus. And we try to do that at least once a year. If we can, we do it every, like twice a year.
That's really, really fun. I think everything that you just said about like culture, sometimes it feels like that's actually the hardest thing in running a business, but it's the thing that's transferable inside of any industry, any specialty. That if you know and understand people and you care about people, that thing translates and I think can take you really, really far. So, I mean, I commend you in jumping into a family, kind of a family and a thing that already existed that was good, and then just trying to keep that going and grow and develop that culture thing. I think that's really, really special. Really, really
And
cool.
all our managers and team really take onus on that as well.
Yeah.
And we say it's about the who and not the what we do.
Yeah.
Selling batteries and bulbs, it's not that sexy. It really isn't.
Yeah.
It's retail. But it is fun to banter with customers and talk with smack among the employees who say, oh, I outsold you today. So it's about people.
Yeah.
And like you said, you can take it to any industry you want. And that's why going from beer to batteries was simple, it was smaller, but it was the same thing.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't love when I have a crack in my screen or whatever, but on occasion when that terrible, miserable thing happens, it is really slick coming into you guys. And one of the last times I was in there, I wish I could remember his name right now. A younger guy, I bet he was in his maybe like early 20s. And the guy at the front counter was talking about like, we'll have that fixed. Why don't you stick around? We'll have that fixed in like 10 minutes. Like he told me how long it would take. And then I just watched that guy and like these tiny little screws and all these things. And he just flew. And I was out of the store in 10 minutes with a new, I think it was 10 minutes, but so fast. And even the little camaraderie on the team of the guy at the counter complimenting the younger guy in the back who can do it faster than anybody. It was just really fun. And
It was probably Hunter.
Sure.
I don't know if you got the name, but Hunter's our device manager, and
Okay.
he knows what he's doing product wise and that, but he also has that personality to chime in with someone if they look like they're waiting long
Yeah.
enough. He has a joke of the day, and you don't even want to hear him, but that's a personality and a person he is.
yeah, well, sweet. All right. When did you decide and how did you decide that you wanted to get involved in local politics?
Well, I have always kicked the can down the road of everything I've done. When I moved here in 1999, I joined the chamber immediately, and I've probably held many board chairs and been on boards with the chamber. Every probably group I've been on with the chamber, and one of them is government affairs.
Yeah.
So that was the long lasting. I'm still on the committee. I've been the chair of it before, and it just intrigued me how you make decisions and policies, but you got to put your feelings to the side. And you got to, if you're going to get anything done, you have to be impartial. Well, I learned so many leadership skills in nonprofits with being on United Way and on bank boards. There's just so many hats I wore in this community over the years that I was asked 2 or 3 times, and I kept going, no way. I am 65 now, so they started probably asking me around 60, and I kept going, no way. My husband, though, on the other side said, I wouldn't say no right away. And so a couple of times, and the last time was the icing on the cake is my friend, again, Tama Tice, decided to run for Senate. And she said, boy, if you'd run for House and we both won, we would do so much good for this community. So I started thinking about it, and my husband finally said, I think you should just take off all those many hats, because you're running every which way anyhow, and put on one hat and do it for District 14A and do it for the people so they have a voice in St. Paul.
That's really, really cool. And, what was the process like? In business, you kind of hang a shingle, but you really have to do kind of the same kinds of things. You got to get a little website out. You need a logo. There's so much of that you have to do. And then you have to start broadcasting and start telling people, I'm here. This is what I believe in. What was that kind of first process like as you jumped into that?
The first process, and you do get a lot of help from the, I will call your party.
Okay.
So they, once they know you say you're going to run, they give you, they help you with writing, they help you with marketing, and they give you this checklist. So the checklist was, okay, how do we start? Really, pretty much, you file. So after you file, it's out there, and you get a call from a radio station that says, hey, I hear you're running. Let's do an interview. So you really have to start thinking about what are your talking points, because you want to stick to them. And you don't want someone taking you down a rabbit hole.
Right.
And it's representing your community, right? So I've been here over 23 years.
Yeah.
And my sticking point was that I have been here 23 years. I have done this, and that. I know the people. They may not know me, but I know the issues we're all experiencing because of my engagement. So I got that going, and then you just start thinking about, how do I get my name out and talking to people?
Yeah.
Well, that's the good old door knocking piece.
Yeah.
So you develop your piece, telling them what you're about, and then you just go and door knock, and you can't be bashful.
Yep.
You can't hesitate. You just put your head down and go. And we actually have a little moped, a Honda Ruckus.
Yeah.
So packed a bag with all my literature and had my addresses in my app, and away we went. And then between that, the hard part is raising money, because you do have to pay for your materials and you have to pay for radio ads.
Yeah.
And I'm not good. I really am not good asking people for money. I can start
That's a little surprising to me, just because the way that you engage at Chamber, you're bold, and it seemed like my guess for you that it would have been an easy thing for you.
Asking people to support me is
Sure.
easy, but just to ask someone, man, to give me even $5 when people are suffering already of money wise.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So you start with the low hanging fruit, and then you just keep building. But once people were hearing I was running, you set up your website and the QR code, and people were starting to give. And I had some good advice from other ex-legislators that live in our community, and said, well, this could help you if you do this or that. And all my friendships, they kept going, Chamber. I mean, Chamber was the biggest one. The first time I sang my PERRYMAN spells Perryman, vote for me. Then I had all those guys and girls at that thing too. So you'll notice I'm a better legislator than a singer. So
Bernie, I didn't have like a giant plan, like a big list of questions for specifically what I wanted to ask you today. The one thing that was a for sure, I was at the top of the list, was I want to ask Bernie to sing her Perryman song. So I'm so glad I can check that one off. I'm so glad we did it.
And stay tuned, because Chuck Rao from the Children's Museum Board.
Yep.
He is in a ukulele band.
Okay.
In fact, they will be playing at my fundraiser next Tuesday at Iron Street
All right.
Brewery or Distillery.
Yep.
And he's teaching me on the ukulele how to do that.
Oh, that's really fun.
So stay tuned.
Okay.
It's coming sooner than later.
Give us the date of it. What's the date and what time?
The fundraiser is June 18th.
Okay.
It's next Tuesday from 5 to 7 at Iron Street Distillery.
All right.
on the east side. And the east side's turning out to be a wonderful area.
Isn't that incredible?
Conjoining with the main downtown
Yeah.
here.
Sweet. Well, what a fun location to do that at. And
Hawaiian theme, so wear your best Hawaiian shirt.
I own no Hawaiian shirts.
Well, we'll get you some flowers and put
All
on
right.
your shirt.
Deal. I'll put on a little necklace or something.
There you go. Well, I do have lays.
Okay.
So you'll
all
have
right.
a lay.
So I can fit in. Good. Because I just have the black shirts. There's nothing else.
I think I know that
yeah.
of you.
Yeah. Okay. So you being a state rep is it's an election every 4 years.
Every 2 years
Or every
for
2
House.
years.
Yes.
Okay.
Senate is every 4
That's right.
years, and then House is every 2 years.
Perfect. A little civics lesson, a good reminder. And so you have an election coming up this upcoming fall.
Yes.
And why are you running again? And what are you excited about in our community? And what do you want to see happen in our community?
I'm running again because I feel that I have a lot more to do for the people that have chosen me and have hired me basically to be their representation in St. Paul. And it's a tough campaign. Again, you campaign and you seem like you're doing it all the time, but I'm doing
2 years. 2 years goes fast.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. And why I do it, it's from the first time why I did it, and that's our I love St. Cloud, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Then, secondly, I love the rest of my my constituents, which I have South St. Cloud, Waite Park, St. Augusta, and half of St. Joe. So I have about 50,000 constituents, and they voted for me to run, and I know I did a great job. I know I have done a great job my last 2 years. The calls I get, the emails I get, they still want me in this position to finish and get them some things done. We are on a cusp, I would say, in Minnesota of a turning point of taxation and fees and revenue going in and out, and that we can be a balanced state. And I'm just hoping, and sometimes that's all you have as a legislator, is that I can do the right thing, that I will do the right thing to bring balance. I do reach over the aisle a lot. I like to work with people of all the, I call them denominations on the floor, but of all, both sides. Because if we don't get anything done for St. Cloud. Yeah. And God bless Minneapolis, St. Paul, Alex, all around us. But St. Cloud is my home. Yeah. It has been my home for 25 years. I've given so much in serving it. I've done everything for people, and I do things for people. That's what gets me energized, is when I can do something for someone and get a call and say, hey, thank you. They moved my project on the bottom of the pile from DNR to the top, and now they're going to do my project. Those are the things we can do so easily as a legislator that other people don't even know where to start. Yeah. So they call us. I have researchers and writers, and you go, hey, I will find that out. You find it out. You call them, and you put them on the right path, and they're a winner then. And then we win because they're staying in St. Cloud. They're making their lives here. They're growing their children here. They're putting them in our education system. They're building houses. It's just a wonderful area to watch grow, and that is a responsibility. I have a responsibility as a legislature to make those things happen, and to take away the barriers that those things can happen, and also pass bills that will help them push to those prosperity levels, education levels, housing, workforce issues, and childcare. I mean, there's so many great things that we can work on together. Yeah,
and our community is so unique. Like you said Metro, and you said Alec, and like each of those communities is close, right? Each of them is only an hour away. But St. Cloud might as well be 4 hours away from each of them. Like we're really our own unique community with our own unique sets of challenges and benefits and things that are special and hard about our community. And so we need voices. We need our own people in St. Paul advocating for us, and because we're unique.
We are, and I just as you just explained it, is that we are a central Minnesota. We are the regional area. We have the region issues that as you get out, state isn't issues in Minneapolis. So we're a big regional area.
Yeah.
People are coming here
Yep.
for our health system, for our education system. They're looking at us as a 5-star
Yeah.
place to live,
Yep.
and we need to live up to it. Legislators have to help that. And when you look at it, you got Rochester one side and Duluth the other. We're that next central regional area, and we want open doors. We want people to come here and thrive, just like I've had a chance to
Yeah.
do that. And children, I really love children too. I don't have them,
Mm-hmm.
but they're the sweetest things, because I don't know if you remember the old Art Linkletter show. I'm that old, but he had a show called Kids Say the Darndest
Oh, yeah.
Things. And when they do say that, and they come up, they do come up to St. Paul and do tours,
Mm-hmm.
the high schools, the grade schools, and the questions they ask, they're just so wonderful.
Yeah.
And that we're teaching a civics class basically every time they come.
Yeah, that's neat. Bernie, what are some of maybe give me 2 or 3 of your favorite things about our community? Like we just said, our community is special and unique. But what are 3 things that you think are particularly special about our Central Minnesota community?
The first pool is special as all the outdoor events we have. Summertime by George, the Waite Park Ledge, Sauk Rapids is on the river
The
there.
Clearing.
Yep,
Yeah.
the Clearing. And St. Joe, they have an outside concert thing as well. And most of them are free. So we're trying to attract people that want to get out during the summer and don't maybe have the extra buck or two. These concerts are all free and they're outside. And
Yeah.
how many months do we have a chance to get outside?
Yeah.
So that's one of my top ones. The second one would be our restaurants.
Yeah.
We have some fantastic restaurants, and when you want to go out, you kind of go, where do I go? Because you can go on the south side, north side, as far as east and west, and you'll get a great place to go, especially when we have summer. I love to sit outside.
A good patio.
Out patio
Yeah.
bars, and we have some great patio bars. And you put food with it, and the customer service too is awesome in
Yeah.
our area. I think we were talking about another place with their customer
Yeah.
service. I believe that's what they teach first whenever they hire an employee is, okay, we're about customers,
Yep.
and we'll make sure that they go away with a happy
Yeah.
smile on their face. And then the third one is probably it sounds corny, but probably the nonprofits we have in this area.
So
we have
many
so
good
many
ones.
great nonprofits, and they're stakeholders together. No one's working in a silo. That I enjoy watching Anna Marie's work with Catholic charities or United Way and their Imagination Library for the kids. There's just so much that they're giving a hand up than a handout,
Yeah.
and that's what is the strength of a community like St. Cloud.
Yeah. Over the course of the next couple of years in your next term, what's one thing that you would like to see changed in our community that you would like to be a part of making better here?
Well, the community, particularly, you'll see that we have a race also with our mayor and the city council.
Yeah.
So once they're chosen, I really want to work with them from St. Paul to St. Cloud
Yep.
on something that didn't get passed, and that was some infrastructure money for downtown St. Cloud to help build that whole downtown Main Street back up.
Yeah.
And that's going to be done with some money, but it's also going to be done with help from the legislature. That's kind of our job, is to make sure infrastructure is good, water systems, roads and bridges, but also to have Main Street doing well. On top of that, though, we do need to watch our business agenda with business owners that we pass and mandate in St. Paul.
Yeah.
So new taxes, new fees on business owners, it's going to hurt, because once you raise a tax on someone, you got to find it somehow. And I don't want to share it with my employer, but you can, I guess, by lessening their salaries. But the big thing is, you're going to drive prices up. So when you raise a tax or fee on a business owner, their product goes up higher,
Yeah.
which is passed down to the community.
Yeah. And maybe just for those that don't know, would you just unpack a little bit more about that legislation that didn't pass about downtown? You just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, downtown, Mayor Dave Kleiss has been working on this several years, but they call it a bonding bill. And so the bonding bill, the money is taken, or not taken, but built into a paper document that says, we are going to give X amount of money to be used for the downtown St. Cloud roadways, to build maybe
Infrastructure
housing,
stuff.
infrastructure, roads, to relieve taxes maybe so that they can get more out. And that was what Mayor Kleiss has been working on for several years. It is a lot of money. It's $100 million of what he requested. That doesn't mean legislature has to give the whole thing,
Sure.
but it's a plan. And I appreciate what Mayor Kleiss did, is that he saw Duluth get like $130 million and Rochester the same amount. And so you have to start somewhere.
Yep.
And he put the plan together, and he had a great plan for the parks, for the walking paths, and making St. Cloud a walkable city.
Yeah.
And bringing more people downtown that way and keeping them down here.
Yeah. And maybe what's something that our downtown could do? I mean, that could come from, from a legislative kind of spot, or it could even come from business owners that are thinking about how to make our downtown better. Like, what's a thing or two that you think could happen in our downtown, or be added to our downtown, or I guess even removed, that could help it take a big step forward?
Downtown infrastructure, we have lots of parking lots. So perhaps taking a parking lot and just like the Children's Museum,
Yeah.
they took a bank and they made it into a wonderful children's museum. So to come up with greater ideas, since we have so much land downtown that are open, to come up ideas as a group,
Yeah.
as a downtown council, and what we could do with on our own and infrastructure. Now, the thing I hear all the time, and I was on the Ox show about this, and he had the survey, is the parking downtown, the parking meters, take them out and do a prototype test with it, making sure that the garages are safe and more light at night. So if you're going to your car, that it's lit up well.
And you feel safe.
And you feel safe. And the other thing is, I love the news. I love some kind of news outlet or somebody. I know our radio stations do great, but to tell the great success stories of St. Cloud.
Yeah.
And that the good things that are happening. You have really good storefronts down there right now, and more are coming. And you just told me about your adventure, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
And shops are coming, restaurants are coming.
Yeah.
So we're taking bites off the elephant, as they say. So
Yeah.
it's not going to happen overnight.
For sure.
But we are central Minnesota. We are strong Minnesotans. And from here, from Maple Grove, there's nothing in between. So
Yeah.
stop in St. Cloud.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing until you probably hit Alex with a rural area or a metropolitan area. And you stop in St. Cloud.
Yeah.
If you're going north, the next big area, Duluth. So
Right.
you stop in St. Cloud. There's a lot to be said about St. Cloud that we have for our services, restaurants, features, and I just would love bragging rights
Yeah.
still to continue and get people to step up
Yeah.
and talk about it.
Yeah.
It takes courage. I will say it's going to take courage, and our Mayor Kleiss has taken courage. Our city council has taken the courage to say enough is enough, and maybe take some votes that not every St. Cloudian's going to want, but watch where the puck's going to go. So what we do today, the repercussions are in 2 years.
Yeah.
So watch where the puck goes, and make sure that we're there to receive it when it does get there.
I have been in the central Minnesota area ever since I think like second grade, maybe. So I guess about 30-ish years I've been here. And, as soon as I could drive, I loved coming downtown. I live in Sartell, but as often as I could get downtown, I would. So even as a young driver, I would, little coffee shops. There was a little coffee shop in town called the Meeting Grounds.
Oh,
And
yes.
so I spent a lot of time at the Meeting Grounds, and their little concert venue downtown that I love to go to called the Java Joint. And anyway, just even as a kid, I loved being downtown. And so as like a lover of the vibe and the energy that comes from downtown, you know, it's been interesting to watch kind of the ebbs and flows of like how our downtown has felt. Like sometimes it feels like, oh, it's hard right now. Right now it feels like there's like I don't know, like a swell kind of behind it. And they're like, I don't know, there's just like lots of excitement around it right now. And I mean, one of the reasons that this is kind of our first opportunity to get downtown, and we're really, really excited to be down there and to bring our team down there and just be a part of that growing community. I mean, there are so many cool businesses and so many wonderful teams and people that are, you know, down there. We're just excited to kind of be a part of that thing and just help push a little bit.
I feel it coming too, especially as we keep doing the art crawls again. Things that we really did well before COVID.
Yeah.
You know what? COVID did have an
was hard.
impact on
Yep.
everybody,
Yep.
and but we can't keep looking backwards. That C word's gone. I always say, don't say that C word anymore. Let's just move forward and look where we're going, and know that we have kids that we need to keep building this town for, because we want them to stay.
Yeah.
We have college students here. We want them to stay. And why would you stay if we can't say we got the best place to live?
Yeah. Yep. One of the things that I would love to see downtown, I'd love to see more. And again, I have no
He's looking
idea.
at you guys, so I don't know.
I have no idea of like how to do it, but I would love to see more housing downtown. Again, sometimes it feels like chicken and egg. Like if you want downtown to do well, you need people. One of them, having people that like live down there and eat down there and like spend time and resources down there more than just from 8 to 5 feels important. And then it's like, oh, well, something like a little convenience store, or like, you know, like a little corner shop, like a bodega of sorts that has pints of ice cream and toothpaste and a little bowl of cereal, you know, like some of that kind of stuff. And so it's like, who kind of comes first? You know, like, I don't know. It'd be sweet if more people live downtown.
And that's the model that Mayor Kleiss has.
Yeah, okay.
He really wants that kind of model, walkability,
Yep.
housing down there. Maybe it's one of those 2 flats.
Yeah.
As I said, there's lots of land that you could
Yep.
probably think that through. And you do need some medical things.
infrastructure for that.
Yeah, and restaurants are great, but you like to pick up a gallon of milk and
Yeah.
bread on your way home.
Yeah.
And that high rise of apartments, the intention of that was there first. And then things just kind of occurred that I don't think people anticipated. And then they went from buying them to now you can rent them and
Yeah.
lease them. And I think that helped a lot. But again, some were like, I like to park my car.
Yeah.
And then I walk everywhere to eat, but I'll need to pick up milk and bread for breakfast. And there is just nothing there.
Nothing. Yeah. Well,
So I think you're on the right track. I know you're on the right track, and Mr. Mayor was here. He'd tell you you're on the right track.
Sure.
We just got to convince some other people as well, and let them understand it and be convinced that we're not trying to push something on them. We're just trying to find the right mix
Yeah.
for a great downtown.
and it'll take both, right? It'll take private sector. Like there are going to be
Absolutely.
developers that have to come and take a risk. Like we're going to come and we're going to do this thing. And obviously it'll take government.
Some seed money,
yeah.
and then you go out and get your private money. And downtowns are grown that way. So
Yeah.
if somebody wants to say that we're doing it the wrong way, that's how downtowns are born and thrive.
Yeah.
You start with A and you get B, and then it just starts blooming, and then you get written up in magazines that, hey, the St. Cloud places to be, go see whatever restaurant.
Yep.
And you can walk. The art crawl is this date.
Yep.
And we have a lot of weekends that you can publish. And the Summertime by George every Wednesday night, that brings people downtown
Yeah.
as well. Granite City Days, like I said, it's just so many great things
Yeah.
going on. And then when winter comes, you want them to keep coming back, right, for eating and drinking downtown.
Yeah. Okay, so Bernie, as you're thinking about your role in politics, when you jump into something like this, are you thinking like, I'm going to just keep running forever? Or do you think like, I want to run for a term or 2 or 3? How do you think about kind of the amount of time that you'll give to something like this?
Well, as everyone knows, right now I am running for my second term, and they're only 2 years, the terms. So they go by so fast that you don't even know that you served one term. So I'm running again, and I have been asked, how many times do you want to really stay? And it's a hard answer because my first term, I really had some great bills, but they weren't accomplished. So now I'll come back and hopefully get those, on the docket again. But any time I take a job on, especially, I've been on many boards, I don't plan to stay forever because I know there's some really quality candidates behind me that are working with behind the scenes is hard learning, and then they're ready to step in. So for me, I will continue to look for my replacement, but I also will continue to work as hard as I can to get some things done until I feel my time is up, or someone says I'd like to run, or even when my own constituents say, yeah, you did a great job, and maybe it's time for somebody else.
Sure.
But it's a hard question to answer just having my first term. But I do have the idea that I'm not staying I'm 65, and really my plan, my husband's plan, and I were about to retire at 65 till really this started coming. And so now we talk about what does retirement look like, what time, and he likes working too, and he's not ready to retire. So I think it will be when we both say, oh, I'm tired and retired. And I will always keep our Batters Plus bulb stores because those are good. I can do the back office things. But this going to St. Paul, you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So I say it's like dog years. You know how they say 1 year in dog,
7.
for a dog is 7 years?
Yeah.
The last session was 2 years, and I felt like it was 7 years.
Okay.
So you put yourself out there, you put your family out there, and there's going to be a time that you're like, I love St. Cloud. I want to be back up to be a constituent than trying to make a real big difference and being at every event and walking in every parade.
Yeah.
And then you do get some nasty emails. I'm going to be honest. Some of the emails I got my first term, I was like, I didn't even do anything yet, and I get these. So you put yourself out there, and enough will be enough eventually that I'll know. But I will also try and find my replacement too, because I won't leave my constituents high and dry without someone.
Sweet. Granted, I'm sure it depends on the nature of vitriol that could come in an email, but just by the nature of our highly politicized environment that we live in, half of the people are gonna think that you're doing really great, and half the people are gonna think you're doing not great. So, as you engage with that, like, what's your kind of approach to handling some of like the really negative things that are said and done? How do you go about that?
Well, just like leading a company, you get customers that aren't happy, you get employees that aren't happy. And I always just kind of put my feet into their shoes, be empathetic, like what just happened? Why is it happening? Why would they think that? And then I'll talk it out with them and be attentive and curious of why they're saying that. And at the end of the day, I want them to know we may disagree. And it is the old saying, we may disagree, but I will respect you at the end of the day. And I always try to de-escalate any anger. If I feel anger, I'll try and de-escalate it, ask a lot of questions, and usually get them comfortable to know me more than just seeing what I voted on or being a legislature.
Yeah, neat. What would you say to someone who they're a young professional, maybe they're just starting out, and they're seeing some of the things that are happening in our community, and they're starting to feel a little bit of that itch or a little bit of that push to think about public service in this kind of way? What would you tell a young person? How do you discern whether it's the right fit for you or not?
Get involved in a lot of, as much as you can. Pick a good place that you feel comfortable. If it's like Chamber of Commerce, where the chamber has a government affairs, they have a marketing, and you might find your silo there and get involved. Pay attention to what is being passed and how it is affecting you. Everything that we do has to affect everybody some way or another. So pay attention there. And again, get engaged where you are having fun, but learning.
Yeah.
It's important to always learn something. And then when you think of, well, now it's time to go somewhere else, you can find that pathway to, because we're St. Cloud. We have anything and everything you can get involved with.
Yep.
And the greatest groups from Rotary. I learn a lot at Rotary because that's nothing to do with business, nothing to do with politics, but it's about the giving back to a
Service over
community.
self.
Service, yes. So there's lots of places with missions and visions that you can learn and find your path.
Yeah. Really, really cool. Well, Bernie, I'm so thankful that you were willing to come and join us on the podcast. And if you're listening or watching and you want to get involved, I think Bernie would tell you, and I would echo that. Just jump in, and you don't need to know everything. Just jump in and get involved. If people have questions, can they head to your website? Can they reach out to you? And
Oh, absolutely.
Cool.
I have a couple of websites.
Mm-hmm.
I rather give my Batteries Plus because you can get a hold of me and
Sure.
And it's BERNIE dot PERRYMAN at gmail.com.
Okay.
And really reach out if you have questions. I do have a lot of younger people. They're like, I want to learn more.
Yeah.
And I'd be glad to meet with them and talk with them.
Cool.
And like I said, I love St. Cloud, and
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. And I know that we want the best for all of us as
We do.
well. So as you said, get involved, find that group, and learn
Yeah.
from each other. And we're stronger together. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
A community is stronger together, and we need to keep that in mind as we go forward.
Wonderful. Okay, so Bernie, the last little thing on the show here is an unpaid ad. Is there a person, thing, organization that you think deserves a little shout out today?
Well, I think I know you asked me that earlier, and I've been thinking as I've been talking with you. I would just say that you talk about getting involved and understanding. Government is really a unique beast in itself because you have federal, you have state, you have local. So I would say something that I just watch kids' eyes go like this is when they come down for a tour of the Capitol in St. Paul. Get your teachers, get your schools to bring you down and take a tour, and its history, and its governance, and its democracy, and it's really something that it's hard to teach in school, but this hands-on thing would be something great for them.
Cool.
So that's what I say. And then sometimes if the weather's right and you ask the golden horses that are up
Yeah.
on the roof, they can go up there, and then their eyes even get bigger.
Cool.
So it might have been a boring, what would you tell someone?
No,
but
it's great.
It's something that it's unique to Minnesotans, and they have a chance to do that.
Cool. My little unpaid ad in the same kind of way is voting. Just go do it. One of our favorite pastimes is arguing about politics and complaining about things. And I think that maybe you shouldn't complain a lot if you don't go and vote. So
Yes, that is so true. Right
Get
now we
involved.
have primaries, and that
Yep.
voting is, I think, August 13th. And then we'll go into the regular votes. But if you don't vote, and it is a constitutional right that
Yeah.
God-given
Yeah.
right too. So use that. And yes, you are so right. They need to get out and vote, because if you get fatigued on it and you go, I'm not going to vote, that could make a big difference
Yeah.
to what you get, because votes have consequences.
Yep.
And use that power that you've been given.
That's right.
At 18 years old, and no matter how old you are, vote
right.
that way after 18.
Well, wonderful.
I
Bernie,
like that. Thank you for adding that,
Yeah, of
because I've been
course.
trying to tell people that too.
Yeah. Yep. We're so thankful to have you on, and it'll be really fun to see what happens in this upcoming election, and to see what you do for our community. For 14A, we really appreciate it a lot.
Well, like they say, the Eagles song, you can check out, but you can never leave. That's going to be me here in St. Cloud for always.
All right. Well, thanks, Bernie. Really, really appreciate it a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate it.